What is up, guys? Welcome back to another ORB breakdown where I go over why I took the trade, maybe why I didn't take the trade, and how I managed the trade. The whole idea is to give you guys an understanding as to what I'm looking for when I'm using the ORB indicator. Now, before then, yes, today we are launching the pivots indicator. As you can see right here, pivots indicator did really well. Now, I will have some more information regarding this in a completely different, separate YouTube video. But since people have been asking, yes, we will be launching it today, and you have the ability to purchase it at a discount because it is Black Friday. I don't know why it takes so long for Strategy Tester to load, but I want it to load for you guys so you can actually see that I'm not like touching the numbers, because I've had people be like, oh, he's manipulating it. Well, you can clearly see I'm not. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's going to include live trading. It's going to have a private room as well. It's going to have education on top. We're going to show you how to pass prop firms with it. Not to mention, we actually have a bunch of live broker statements that we're going to share with you guys as well in the Discord. So if you aren't a part of the Discord, you can go there. We also have over 7 figures of payouts with one of our traders, Dan, who's a part of the TradeX team. I know you guys see me, but there's a lot that goes on behind the curtains with TradeX. We have 3 full-time developers. We have 2 growth partners associated with the team. We have multiple traders a part of the team too that essentially help us build these strategies. But they don't want to build content or make content. A lot of these strategies are really from me, and then they kind of help me cultivate my brain, what I'm thinking into these indicators and these strategies as a whole. But yeah, this pivots indicator is going to be really, really cool. You will be able to automate the alerts. So for example, here we can change the risk from like $200 a trade to $500 a trade. All right, if I go back into Strategy Tester, you'll see that the results are going to be extraordinary. But again, this is a little bit more of a quantitative price action strategy. ORB is almost purely price action. We did use some quantitative filters, such as parameter optimization, to basically figure out which range is the best to use at certain times. Whereas this pivots indicator is looking at like previous day's volatility, weekly volatility, certain highs and lows from the previous session to determine, what levels in the next day's session is price likely to break out of. And as you can see, here's another report where I've tested as much history as possible, and we still have a beautiful P&L as well. Nonetheless, this is what it looks like. Here are the levels that it basically prints. As you can see, it's really, really nice. You actually would have stayed out of this chop this morning and then taken this. I know ORB unfortunately lost. But anyways, let's get into ORB. So let me go ahead, let me turn off this indicator. Let me go ahead and pop up the ORB indicator and go into the 5-minute chart. Now, this was a very unfortunate day. We had a nice little squeeze on V1. I did trade V1 today. If you guys did see my live video on TikTok where I'm live trading with the indicator, you would have seen me say, hey, we are breaking above the high of the day and closing above the high of the day. So yes, this is an A setup. Now, is it within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the open? Yes. Is it breaking above the high of the day? Yes. If you go back and watch my TikTok video, there was only one stipulation that basically told me, hey, this might be a little bit of a weak push, and that was the actual candle close at the 9:30 a.m. East open, right? So here's the 9:30 candle. I was essentially saying that if we were to close as a wick rejection here, I would not have taken the position, only because price is highly likely to reverse at that point. Now, since we did close above the high of the day, I am going to trust my rules. I'm going to do everything that I can to stick to my rules as well. But the only thing I didn't like is that this candle's body was less than this entire wick right here. Like, this candle was essentially closing as like a wick rejected candle, or what people call as like a pin bar candle or shooting star. Regardless of the name, all you need to understand is that the wick consumed more of the actual candlestick than the body itself, and that generally tells me that we didn't have a lot of momentum within that break, and that was the only thing telling me to not necessarily stay out, but risk less. But nonetheless, this was still a high probability position. I'm not denying that. And unfortunately, we did take a loss on this today. Now, we did thereafter, I actually switched to V4, which was the same position as V1. So here we're going to switch to V4 because we're now, almost 25 minutes after the open. And what did I see? I saw a manipulation of not only the high of the day, but this is also the V4 range. And I saw we closed back in. So I was like, all right, great. We must be having a manipulation. Here, price comes in and we close, right? This was also a great A+ position, and unfortunately it came to whack us, right? I did not take the second position today. I only took today's first loss here, primarily because I was mad. I don't want to be trading when I'm emotional, for one. You should always trade like a computer. If I were to have this completely automated, yes, I would have taken this and I would have taken that. But unfortunately, no, I did not take this loss, and no, I did not take this win. But it's funny because we had all high probability positions today, and if you would have taken all the high probability positions, you would have lost this first trade, you would have lost the second trade, and then you would have won this third trade, right? So overall, if you were to do that, that's -2 plus today's win, which is 1.5, you would have come out to -0.5 on the day today, assuming you stuck to all the high probability positions. Now, -0.5 isn't horrible, not great. If we take a back look at the week as a whole, we still had a beautiful Tuesday, and we still had a beautiful Monday as well. You guys can look back at the other videos on how I traded those days here on this channel. So overall in the week, we are still positive. If I bring up my TradeEvade account, here's a PA account for Apex. We're still up over 1,100. Of course, with Apex, you got to hit around that $2,000 or more to get a payout. I will get there. I know I will. But nonetheless, yeah, this was pretty much the outcome of today. Now, let's talk about Thursday and Friday real quick. I will not be trading tomorrow because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. It's a U.S. holiday. Today was a losing day. Nothing to be upset about. It's going to happen. If you were able to catch all three of those positions, I would say you traded the indicator well, actually. In the description, if you do want to claim these indicators, I will leave the link for that. I will also leave the link to purchase the pivots as well, if that's something you want to do. I will also leave a discount code in the description as well for any Black Friday sale that we have. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.